Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
We got our guy Darren Doogie Wolfson in the house here from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. He's got his iced coffee. You guys have your regular coffees. Mm-hmm. Just got my water bottle here.
Oh, you say it's water, Phil.
Stay hydrated.
We know better.
It's gin and tonic in a Gatorade bottle.
God.
Yeah, it's early in the little G&T to celebrate.
Hey, that's okay.
Crazy week in the NBA.
I'm thinking about those lyrics from the Billy Joel song right now. A little gin and tonic.
Doogie's here. Let's dive into. There's a list of things we can get into here, but this is a huge week for the Timberwolves. You've got the NBA draft starting tomorrow night, and the Wolves have picks 17 and 31 for now, or maybe they wind up picking on behalf of somebody else. We don't know yet. You've got trades already happening across the NBA. KD to Houston on Sunday. Drew Holiday to Portland as sort of part one of Boston's mission to get under the second apron. They still have $18 million to go, so Porzingis is in play. There's been some Derek White rumors. Naz Reid and Julius Randle player option decisions later this week, and then not possibly, like 100% a new ownership vote, I think today, but we're going to have some resolution on that officially. So, Doogs, let's just start where any sort of buzz or steam or things that you want to start off with here, setting the scene for a massive week for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean, we should know later today the word I got. I reported this on Channel 5 locally here in the Twin Cities when I anchored on Friday that it would be early this week. Well, once the NBA Finals extended into Sunday, it was more like Tuesday, not Monday, because that game ended late Sunday. It wasn't going to be some big announcement first thing Monday, but I imagine, like, to be safe, okay, by the time I join you guys next on Thursday, yes, it will be official. It was strategic by Glenn and Becky Taylor to put out that thank you letter on Monday, that they could own Monday. And now Tuesday, this is A-Rod and Lori's day. It's a mere formality. I guess I'll just be curious to find out if we do. Yes, they have the 75%, but could it be unanimous? Or does Glenn have his guy Simon with the Pacers in his back pocket? That's one of his guys. So does Glenn get some sort of pity type vote, or is it unanimous? I mean, I guess I'm curious a little bit to hear that, but bottom line, it is happening now. Like a formal press conference, that is going to take place in July. It's not like A-Rod and Lori are going to be made available like tonight or tomorrow. That is not happening. So the big celebration is still a little bit of a ways out. Think about Vegas Summer League, the party that will happen in Vegas in a couple weeks. So we begin with that news expected today. Yes, pick 17 tomorrow, pick 31, the first pick on Thursday. As far as I can tell, now I guess I don't remember the late 70s, early 80s, but as far as I can tell, this is the first time in NBA history it is a 2-day draft.
Yeah.
So some intrigue having that first pick on Thursday. Think about all the dialogue that will take place late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Although right now I will tell you, Phil, I think it's more likely they keep 31 compared to 17. I will tell you on pick 17. In fact, I'll read it verbatim from a team picking above the Wolves, what this person told me on Monday. Let me see if I can find it. I was texting with him this morning on something else, so it should be top of my text messages. They are open to moving up or down in the first round. That's the first time I had heard that they were open-minded to moving up. Now, do I think I would bet on a scenario where they move up tomorrow night? Probably not. But this is a team that is above the Wolves that tells me, hey, the Wolves have shown some interest in moving up. So, yeah, all sorts of intrigue heading into tomorrow. Then you think about in the next few days, decisions on guys like Leonard Miller. Now, Miller is representing the Wolves at an event here this week. That's a signal. That's an easy decision. Like, to me, even though he hasn't played much, you keep Leonard. You fully guarantee at $2 million-ish for next season. Luka Garza, Josh Minot, to me, those are also easy team decisions, but those decisions are forthcoming. Then you think about the player options for Naz Reid and Julius Randle. So all of this is happening before June 30th. So, yes, all sorts of stuff happening. We know, Phil, Tim Connolly, others, Matt Lloyd, Dell Demps, they cast a relatively wide net. There's all sorts of dialogue taking place. Now, I was told they did not engage Boston on Drew Holiday. So we saw late last night Drew Holiday on his way to Portland. Interesting trade with Anthony Simons heading to Boston. Now, the way the Celtics play, to me, Simons is a pretty darn good fit in that offense. But I was told, for those that had asked me, I don't get the sense that the Wolves were ever in on Drew Holiday, but certainly in on some other guys. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, well, Derek White is the one that would, it would be a haul, I think, to get him because he's under contract for like 4 more years.
There's interest there, Phil. There is. I'm glad you brought up that name. Now, hey.
That's interesting.
There's interest in a lot of guys. Doesn't mean anything is on the cusp of happening. Even KD, going back to February. I mean, how many times did I say I think it's going to be hard to actually complete a deal? So you can have all the interest in the world. Doesn't mean there's a great fit, but do I think there's interest in Derek White here? Absolutely.
So, Duke, in a potential trade or at least an offer like that, who do we think from the Timberwolves side is on the table?
Well, I mean, I think just about anybody. Now, do I think Jaden McDaniels is going to Boston in a Derek White trade? Probably not. Boston is looking to shed salary.
Correct. Yeah.
So what's the pathway to doing that?
Multiple teams for one, because the Wolves are also looking to be careful. The Wolves wouldn't be able to. So Boston's they have $18 million more to go after yesterday's trade to get under the second apron. Well, if you're the Wolves, because you are, even after the league year turns over, you're still a luxury tax team. So it's not like you can take on $18 million in net salary. You have to match within like 25%. So if Boston's goal is to trade either Porzingis or Derek White, or there's been some Jaylen Brown chatter because his cap hits like $55 million. You'd have to involve a third team that can absorb some assets of some kind. So that's the interesting thing about this dance the Wolves are trying to do, is that like even after they get to the new league year and they're out of the second apron, it's still like pretty tight to maneuver some of these contracts around. But I would not give up Jaden McDaniels in a deal for White, but I would give up a lot in a deal for White.
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody else outside of Ant, Judd, is on the table on 3-team scenarios. I mean, there were 3-team scenarios where the Wolves would have ended up with Durant, or Durant would have gone elsewhere, and the Wolves would have been that third team. And so the Wolves, trust me, like it's something they've explored already. Now, I don't know on Derek White if they've tried to concoct some 3-team scenarios, but yes, logically speaking, that makes all sorts of sense. Now, I will tell you, a high-ranking league official told me the other day, a front office executive, he goes, hey, it's fun to talk about all these scenarios. I think what happens is Nas is back, Randall is back, sign and trade. So that to me is the puzzle piece like that I'm fixated on more than any other. Okay, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, where is he going? Mm-hmm. Okay, sign and trade. Like, I'm intrigued. Okay, so what are you getting back in return? But otherwise, this person, for what it's worth, okay, because I might be able to reach out to somebody else and they disagree, but for whatever it's worth, this person said, hey, I can see the Wolves just running things back, Nickeil gone, somebody else in via a signing trade.
So, that opens up a lot of possibilities. But let's say, because you've got some replication of Nickeil Alexander-Walker's skill sets, and I'm not saying that these guys would immediately be the contributor that he was, especially in the regular season. But Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon Jr., in theory, can kind of step in and fill some of those minutes and that sort of wing defender 3-and-D little offensive punch. If you were to kind of run it back, and the big move that you would make is essentially a marginal tweak of Nickeil Alexander-Walker out in a sign and trade, and in return, you get a starting point guard with Dillingham then coming off the bench with a role, and Conley kind of moves into that, like, almost like the Joe Ingles slot where we'll call on you once in a while, and you might get some run, but there's going to be a bunch of DNP-CDs on your stat sheet. Lonzo Ball being the name that comes to mind. And I don't know if that would be a direct one-for-one trade. But if you were to swap out Nickeil for like a Lonzo Ball, a big ball handling, a reliable in terms of like ball handling and defense and those things. He can shoot some threes, not reliable, and he's played 35 games over 3 years. Does that make the Wolves better? Anthony Edwards hitting the gym, developing a mid-range game, find ways to unlock Jaden McDaniels more offensively. Does that marginal tweak make this team better is my question.
I think that roster could win more than 49 games next year. Not significantly more. Now, the question is, are they capable of then winning 2 more rounds in the playoffs to get back to the Western Conference Finals? But yeah, I mean, I think there is something to be said about a second year of DiVincenzo here. That Dante DiVincenzo can be more like the player we saw his last season with the Knicks. That Dante will be better next year. That the Randall we saw late, more so the Lakers and Warriors series, that there's more there. Or that player will see more than what we saw, late October, November, into December. Then he missed a good chunk of games. DiVincenzo missed a good chunk of games. Can you have some injury luck on your side? Yes. The inevitable evolution of Ant's game, taking it to another level. At next year, 24 years old. Won't turn 24 here for a few weeks, but at 24 years old, maybe more so, entering his prime. We think now of Ant in his prime, and I'm not necessarily debating that, but I still think there's another level he can get to. The question is, like Rudy Gobert, at his age, do we continue to see that decline? What exactly is Mike Conley Jr.'s role next year? When more is asked of Jalen Clark, is he capable of delivering? What about Terrence Shannon Jr.? Now that the league knows a lot more about him, can he duplicate the success he had his rookie year? So there are fair questions to ask. But if you're asking me, Phil, you add Lonzo Ball, subtract Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think that team wins minimum 50 games.
So, Dukes, I think as far as the young guys who didn't play getting a chance, I think that makes perfect sense. But I want to back up on Gobert for a second, because Conley's a very, very sharp guy who seems to know when to bail. And I think the question is not, how many regular season games can they win? You get into the playoffs and you're probably going to be fine. I think the question becomes, can you get past OKC? Can you win a title? Can you finally get to an NBA Finals? Do we think that Tim Conley sits in his office right now and thinks that with Gobert they can do that? Because that one, to me, after seeing, the decline, after seeing where this team is at, after seeing what OKC did to them and then going on to win a title, that's the one that I would love to know what Tim Conley is thinking, because I don't think it's a pride thing. He acquired Gobert. Gobert did a good job. So I don't think this is Tim being like, I acquired him, I'm keeping him. How do we think he falls, just your reckless speculation and knowledge of the organization? How do you think Tim Conley falls on Gobert being a piece of this team going forward?
Well, first off, how big a smile do you have, Judd, that Gobert is sitting out Eurobasket this summer, not playing for Team France?
Wow,
the first
Judd,
time in how many years?
If I had a flag, I would get it.
He finally took your advice.
Thank God.
Resting this summer. No France basketball duties for Rudy Gobert. Yes, I mean, Rudy's been spending time here in town now. There's some stuff on his personal side of things that he needs to flesh out. But, I thought right now he might be back in France. But no, he's stateside. He's been spending a lot of time here in the Twin Cities the last few weeks. Now, maybe he's back out west, spends enough time in Southern California. But, I've been led to believe he's been here a good chunk of the last handful of weeks. I will tell you, Judd, my sense is they still have a very healthy opinion of Gobert internally. That I do think, some apprehension. I know there was a reported offer that Gobert was on the table for Phoenix. I wonder if that was more wishful thinking from the Phoenix side. I have not confirmed that the Wolves absolutely put Gobert on the table. Are we sure it was Gobert, not Julius Randle? I'm just saying, I know there's some stuff from the Phoenix side. I'm not there. I'm just telling you, I've not heard that the Wolves absolutely had Gobert on the table, because you think about, okay, yes, great if Durant had come here, but and I get it. I still think offense is more important than defense. I really do, but that the Wolves felt like they would have taken a massive step backwards defensively. I also, by the way, for what it's worth, think the KD camp, when we're trying to figure out exactly why KD didn't want to be here, well, if that possibility did exist, that Gobert would have been Phoenix bound. If you're Durant, yes, I think he could have won a lot of games here, but maybe he thought, you know what? I don't know. Like, if I'm going to Minnesota, I want to play with Rudy Gobert. I'm just saying, is he untouchable? No. Like, to me, Chicago is fascinating. Chicago in the past has had interest in Gobert. Now, they played at a really fast pace this past season. I don't know how you would do that with Rudy. Vucevic is in the final year of his deal. Really good offensive center. There's just not a whole lot of defense there. But to me, Chicago is super intriguing. Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
I really believe they're going to do something. Their president of operations worked with Tim Connolly in Denver for whatever that's worth. They have a close relationship. So I wonder. They've had interest in Gobert in the past. So I'm not saying he's untouchable, but I know there's some apprehension internally that if we do move on from Gobert, how much of a step backwards do we take defensively?
Well, and just a quick little aside here, because
I want a mock.
they may make a pick at 17, and they may keep that player at 17. It's kind
Right
of
now,
wide
Phil,
open
I will
here.
tell you. I mean, subject to change clearly, right? I mean, we're sitting here at 10:24 Central on Tuesday morning. There's a lot more phone calls that will take place the next 32, 34 hours, right? But in this moment, I will tell you, I think they do stay at 17 and just select a player.
And once again, I mean, the momentum is continuing to build in the mockosphere. So we did the ESPN mock with you last week. Now we got I think this is the Athletics final mock here from this morning. And at 17, just like ESPN's mock last week, it's the 6'9", 6'10", 19-year-old big from Georgetown, Thomas Sorber, who they met with at the Combine. I believe
he came to town. I'll add to that. So he came to town. He was here in town for a checkup. The Wolves have the book on Thomas. Yeah, I mean, he can't do anything on the court. He won't play Summer League following his foot surgery in February. But I can tell you he was among many draft prospects that has been to town the last few weeks. So I can tell you the Wolves, whether they take him or not, I don't even know if he'll be on the board at this point at 17. So it may not be a tough decision for them. But whatever the decision is, I can tell you the Wolves have every bit of information they need on that Georgetown big man.
And there's some other big men around sort of the teens that are interesting here. But I do wonder if, as part of their calculus, they're looking at, boy, where we are drafting, there's guys like Thomas Sorber. We could find someone who's 19, 20. Not that Chris Finch would immediately play him 20 minutes a night, as we've seen. Like, you have to really earn your playing time. But would they look at a remake of their front court, and also part of that plan being the best stretch of basketball that Jaden McDaniels has maybe ever played offensively and defensively with the Wolves was when he was playing mostly the 4 with Julius Randle out for 2 months, and he can kind of roam weak side off ball as a defender, shot blocker. You know, I just like Jaden as a 4 is a really interesting proposition, I feel like. And the crop of big men you could draft in the teens, does it make Rudy more expendable in that way as well? And then Julius too. Like, this is all of these pieces are sort of coming together here in the next 3 or 4 days.
Absolutely. And these are all conversations, I promise you, they are having internally. Is there a way to unearth more from Jaden with Julius still here? Because there has been dialogue about a contract extension. There just has been. Speaking of guys spending time here in the area, Julius hasn't left. He's in town. I'm just saying, like, there's definitely genuine interest both sides. Now, what exactly that looks like in terms of length, money, a lot to figure out there. But the idea of mutual interest in a contract extension, it's been there. Like, there's been external dialogue about that. But again, like, are the Wolves married to Julius Randle? No. And so if the right opportunity presents itself, yeah, I think he's available. I do. But like right now, I think we need to think about Jaden playing the 3 and Julius spending a good amount of time on this roster playing the 4. So how exactly do you get more from Jaden playing the 3? That's, to me, the question. Because there's more there. We know there's more there. We've seen it in snippets. how do you get more out of Jaden?
Yeah. A couple other things here on the recklessly speculative front to get to
Speculation
during this big week for the Timberwolves. But a reminder that this is a brand new YouTube channel here. We finally, after 3 years, launched a Flagrant Howls standalone YouTube channel. And so if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, your experience has not really changed much. But you can help us out by, on that Flagrant Howls YouTube channel, clicking the like button and the subscribe button to help us keep growing toward 5,000 subscribers. Over 4,000 subscribers in the first 2 weeks, and we appreciate you guys. It's been fun speculating recklessly over the past couple of weeks here. And then on the Apple and Spotify front, a 5-star rating and a positive review goes a long way to help us keep growing this awesome community here. Judd, Butcher and the Boar is helping us out by giving us the meat sweats.
Oh, and guess what, folks? It's finally summer today. Gorgeous outside. Absolutely a great day to do what? How about this? Sit on a patio. How about this? Sit on the new big expansive patio in the North Loop at the Butcher and the Boar. It's a perfect place for outdoor dining or having a drink before, let's say, a Twins game. If you're going downtown, not far, as Phil just said, the meat sweats. The food there is just great. We're talking house smoked meats, hand-cut steaks, fresh seafood. I could go down the roster, but I want you to see the menu, and I want you to enjoy time in the North Loop Outdoors at the Butcher and the Boar on their new patio. Check it out and enjoy.
Dukes, so do you buy this from our guy Gambo on Arizona Sports Radio down in Phoenix?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on a show, but he's rock solid.
Yep, he's super plugged in, and he does get a ton of information from the Phoenix Suns side of things. And he went on, I believe it was Kevin O'Connor's podcast, and he said the Wolves' offer for Kevin Durant was Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, one of the young guys, either Rob Dillingham or Terrence Shannon Jr., and the 17th overall pick. And it was the Wolves because Kevin Durant made it clear that he didn't want to go to Minnesota. There's also a report that Durant kept shooting trade ideas down because there was too many assets going out from the team that he was going to. He's like, well, if I'm going to go somewhere, I don't want them to trade too many things because I want to be on a good team. So
I think there's something to be said about that with the Wolves, yeah.
Yeah, so he really had control over this thing despite not having a no-trade clause. But do you believe that they offered Gobert, DiVincenzo, Dillingham, or Terrence Shannon, and the 17th overall pick?
I don't. Not all of that. Some of that, yes. I'm not there on all of that. Now, hey, I'll echo what my good buddy Brian Windhorst said on Monday. Like, I think, Phoenix deep down wanted things to happen with Minnesota. That in the end, okay, maybe they got as much as they could from Houston. But in an ideal world, Durant would be here right now. Phoenix would have worked out a deal with the Wolves. It's also unfortunate if you're the Suns that you could have gotten more in February. Like if you just pulled the trigger in February, it was going to be incredibly complicated, but you would have gotten more in February compared to now. But I'm not sure it was all of that. Like I never once heard that Terrence Shannon Jr. was absolutely on the table. It was more, I'd heard that Phoenix had interest in Dillingham. DiVincenzo, yes. I'm still not sure on Gobert, I'm telling you, because there was apprehension on this end. Now, maybe in the end, it's KD. You put Gobert on the table. You figure everything else out later. So I'm not necessarily poo-pooing that. I just not heard that myself. But I never did hear that Shannon Jr. was on the table. But yeah, some of that, absolutely. And I'm telling you, I mean, if KD had said, yeah, I'll be there, KD would be a Timberwolf right now.
Dukes, do we know any of the details or what parts were on the table in what you referred to as a complicated February possibility of a trade? Do we know what the Wolves were prepared to part with in season?
Yeah, well, Randall, DiVincenzo, a future pick. Yeah, I mean, I don't know like every single piece, but yeah, you can start right there. But it would have been more. And so I don't have every exact detail, but yeah, I was led to believe that if Phoenix had pulled the trigger in February, they would have been much better off compared to now. And hey, like I'm probably a bigger Dylan Brooks fan than a lot of people. Like kind of one of those guys you like having on your team. You hate playing against them.
I mean, Pat Bev was like that too.
Watch,
yeah,
right. But he can help you. Jalen Green, we can debate that. I like pick 10 in this draft. Maybe because I like Derek Queen so much that I think he'll be there, although I don't know if they'll draft Queen. But I like pick 10 in this particular draft. Maybe some other drafts, not so much, but I don't mind pick 10 tomorrow night. So all things considered, I think they did okay. I also think after hearing a little bit more, like I do think KD had all sorts of interest in being in New York, but that was never a realistic possibility. That with Houston, with Udoka, with Ivy, Royal Ivy, who played with KD at Texas, being on that Rockets staff, and Udoka, the connection to Brooklyn when they were together, like there was a strong push from those two in particular to bring KD to Houston. And I promise KD knew all about that. Then you look at, Şengün and they'll probably work something out with Van Vliet. I love the Thompson kid. You still have Tari Eason. Heck, does Reed Shepherd, really, really high draft pick last year? Like, to me, there's more there. Like, it takes a while to figure things out, but he's going, I think, to take a pretty big step here pretty quick. Like, Houston, to me, is going to be really, really good. I wouldn't be shocked if they're back in that 2 seed again next year.
No. One last thing for you here. So there was a report. There's been all kinds of Mike and Nori steam as a head coaching candidate for like 2 years. But the Knicks, in their effort they've been rejected by half the teams in the league to try and interview their current incumbent coaches. So now they're trying to go interview guys who are actually available. And Mike and Nori did an interview with the Knicks, so he's on their short list. Could the Knicks be stealing the Timberwolves' top assistant here, Dukes?
I'll be surprised. Now, if you're Micah, why not take the interview? It's either today or it was yesterday. Maybe it was Sunday. It doesn't matter. Sometime in the last either 24 to 36 hours, or it'll be later today. A lot of people still think Jason Kidd is their guy. That at some point, Dallas will curl, say, okay, give us whatever it is. We will trade you Jason Kidd. Now, right now, that hasn't moved anywhere. So if you're New York, you go with Mike Brown or Taylor Jenkins, or do you go the assistant route? I will tell you, I know of at least one assistant that turned down the chance to interview with the Knicks. And I'm told there's at least one other name that hasn't leaked yet. And I don't know the name. I would tell you if I knew. But that there's at least one other name that either interviewed with the Knicks very recently or is about to. So there's still another name to emerge. Pretty clear the Knicks thought, I think it was Kidd. I think they thought it was a slam dunk. They were going to land Jason Kidd. Once that blew up, it's pretty clear they don't know what the heck they're doing. Still will be good. They have enough good players. I like Leon Rose, knowing him from his agent days, although I don't get why he literally never meets with the media out there. To me, that's ridiculous, but that's another topic. But it's pretty clear, right? Like, what the bleep are they doing? Like, at this point, dude,
it's wild.
Do they know what they're doing? I would still, I'm telling you, maybe I'm just a Taylor Jenkins apologist, but just hire Jenkins. He had enough success in Memphis. Just do that. I don't know why they're not, but no, I don't think Micah in the end is going to get that job, but I'd like to think he'll make a favorable impression. Like, he didn't make it to the Final Four in Phoenix, but I'm told he made a favorable impression. I'll continue to say it's when, not if, Micah Nori gets a head coaching opportunity. He is really, really bright.
Yeah.
Also, do you want that job? Really, do you want that job? I get it. You take the interview. I guess if they make the offer, how do you turn it down?
But it's been deemed now that it would be a failure to not get to and maybe win the NBA championship next year, right? Like, that is, they fired Tom
now
Thibodeau.
After the Halliburton injury? Yes.
And the Tatum injury?
Do you want to work for James Dolan? No.
It's hard. Yes, correct. That's why it's hard for me to see Cleveland actually moving Darius Garland. Like, they had some bad injury luck in the playoffs. How do you not at this point run this thing back? I know Ty Jerome may leave as a free agent, but for the most part, run this thing back if you're the Cavs. You absolutely can win the Eastern Conference. But it's a fascinating time. Like, I'm unaware of any team for sure saying we're absolutely out next season. Like, here, have this guy, that guy. Yes, Utah has a long way to go, but Utah is open to doing all sorts of things, including maybe trying to bring a star to Salt Lake City. Like, Charlotte, maybe. I guess maybe the Wizards. The Wizards would be the one that they are, slow building this thing. There's some protection issues with their draft pick next year that they're incentivized to maybe lose a few games to be able to maintain their 26 first-round pick. But outside of the Wizards, like in the West, Phil, New Orleans, no. Like Joe Dumars has been told, hey, find a way to win. Portland, now, do they keep Drew Holiday? I guess they do.
I think they do. Yeah.
So that's
I think Portland wants to get in. Yeah.
Okay, so who in the West is looking to take a step backwards?
It's a wild conference. I mean, up and down. You have teams outside of the play-in that are being aggressive. I mean, Portland's the prime example. Portland looked really competitive at times, and they've got some really good young players. And now you add, not that they're going to like vault into title contendership, but the Spurs were kind of outside there too. And now with Wemby a year older, and they've got the number 2 pick, and like they're going to make a push. So yeah, the West is, it's hard to see the West being less competitive than it was this last year. And it was hyper competitive this last year.
I'm with you. Now, hey, like Phoenix, it's going to be hard for them to win games. First time head coach. But when you make the moves you did, bringing in Brooks and Green, like that to me isn't a step backwards type transaction. I'm just saying, like, there are so many teams all in on trying to win at a pretty high level next season. Doesn't mean they're all going to accomplish their goal, but there's a lot of wild stuff like Sacramento. What do they end up doing? Do I think Malik Monk would be a great fit here? Yes. Do I sense there's been any dialogue so far? No. Well, especially on DeMar DeRozan. I've not heard any Wolves DeRozan chat.
Nah, he's out of the. I don't need it. He's like, what is he, 34 now? Am I overestimating DeMar DeRozan's?
Yeah,
God, that guy's been around forever, man.
Yeah, I don't think DeRozan is a great fit here, but Malik Monk,
35. I feel like Malik Monk is a bit of a chucker, and maybe
well, maybe
that changes.
And also, hey, if you just watch Wolves Kings games, you think Malik Monk is a perennial all-star. Like, he has kicked the Wolves' ass so many times.
Yeah,
I don't know if he would be like Plan A. I'm just saying, I think he'd be a decent fit. Now, to me, Derek White would be the best fit.
Yeah, well, Derek White.
Almost anybody that's realistic right now, just because Boston is going to do something else. Now, maybe it's Porzingis. Maybe they keep White. They end up trading Porzingis. But to me, Boston is going to do more. So that's why I think maybe it's realistic enough. Like, that to me would be the guy. Like, if you can go get Derek White, go get Derek White. You'd have to give up a lot, but go get Derek White.
Yep. Plenty more later this week here, Dukes, as we see what else plays out. We do have to run. But you can find Darren on Channel 5. Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department. Happy Reckless Speculation Week here in
Love it, boys. We'll chat on Thursday. Fun week.
All right. There
Good
he
to
is.
see you.
Dukes. All right. We'll see you guys likely tomorrow on Flagrant Howls. Draft day tomorrow. This is a Timberwolves Lifestyle Podcast.